Yeah, it's Zach, stepping up to the game, living life prepared, I'm not here for the fame. With a plan in my hand, gotta make it alright. Through the storms and the struggles, I'm ready to fight. Prepare for the worst while I aim for the best. Zach's unique prepping, we're reaching new heights. Living strong and ready, we're chasing the lights. With courage as armor, we'll conquer the day. Together we rise, we'll fight our own way. Stacking knowledge and skills, I'm building my base. In this world of chaos, I'm finding my space. No fear in the hustle, I'm sharpening my tools. When the world brings the waves, I'm breaking the rules. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Yeah, Zach's unique prepping, we're reaching new heights. Living strong and ready, we're chasing the lights. With courage as armor, we'll conquer the day. Together we rise, we'll find our own way. We'll find our own way. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Zach in knowledge and skills, I'm building my base. In this world of chaos, I'm finding my space. No fear in the hustle, I'm sharpening my tools. When the world brings the waves, I'm breaking the rules. Stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Never lose sight. Yeah, stand tall, keep grinding, never lose sight. Let's break every chain, with Zach in the lead. We'll never feel pain, never feel pain, never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain, never feel pain, never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. With Zach in the lead, we'll never feel pain. We'll never feel pain, we'll never feel pain. We'll never feel pain.
When I was born, they had no hope for me, but I survived to build a legacy. I felt no love as I was raised. I felt broken, disheartened, and betrayed. But here I am, doing my own thing. I'll take a stand, I'll take a stand. I can do anything. You take one look at me and see a man with a disability. You don't know what I can be. You just take me for granted. So here I go, here I go. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Don't tell me no, don't tell me no. I'll show you I am strong. You think that I am disabled? I'm gonna show you I'm very capable. I was made fun of when I was in school. It broke my heart. I wasn't cool. I wanted to give up, wanted to end my life. I couldn't take the pain, couldn't take the strife. But here I am, living the dream. I got some friends, and they're on my team. You take one look at me and see a man with a disability. You don't know what I can be. You just take me. So here I go, here I go. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Don't tell me no, don't tell me no. I'll show you I am strong. You think that I am disabled? I'm gonna show you I'm very capable. I'm a survivor and that's a fact. It was a long road, but I'm not looking back. I am a winner and I choose to succeed. I'm stronger. My past made me be. I'm Zach and I'm just being me. I'm not disabled, I've got a unique ability.
At Unique Prepping, we're all about building stronger communities and preparing for the unexpected. Now, we're taking our mission even further by partnering with Stolen Spirits, a powerful initiative focused on raising awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Together, we're blending preparedness with advocacy, shining a light on the issues that matter most. Join us as we unite for a cause, inspire change, and build a future where every voice is heard and every life is valued. Unique Prepping and Stolen Spirits, stronger together.
Never fear pain was Zach in the lead. I like it. Hi, everybody.
Evening, our prepping community, and welcome to the 41st installment of Unique Prepping's community. On tonight's episode, we will be discussing the hard times and misunderstandings of unique abilities. I'm your host, producer, and community member Unique Prepping, and with me is my brother from another Moda and our community member Tug from the Unapologetic Geek. Down in the description, I put his link. Please go subscribe and keep this beautiful community growing. Tug is joining me live, the heart behind our channel and a fiercely proud dad to an incredible autistic son who sees the world in ways most people will never understand. I'm your host, living openly with cerebral palsy, walking, and sometimes rolling, proof that different wiring and different bodies do not equal less capable. This isn't about bug-out bags or stockpiles. Tonight is about the raw, unfiltered truth of raising and living with neurological and physical differences in a world that still thinks normal is the only way to survive hard times. Keep hearing the same tired myths. Autistic people will be a liability when things fall apart. Wheelchair users or anyone with mobility issues should just hope someone saves them. Neurodivergent brains shut down under stress. Chronic pain makes you weak. Those lies come from people who have never watched an autistic child line up emergency supplies with perfect precision while everyone else is panicking. They come from people who have never seen someone with cerebral palsy figure out 12 different ways to open a can when their hands won't cooperate the normal way. Our bodies and brains aren't broken, the standard disaster playbook is. Going to ask Tug the questions most people are afraid to say out loud about raising an autistic son in a society that fears difference. I'll answer follow-up questions about what it really feels like to move through a world built for bodies that aren't mine. We'll talk about the meltdowns, the stares, the days we both wanted to give up, and the moments that made us realize our so-called disabilities are actually the exact skills the world will need when everything else fails. No sugarcoating, no inspiration porn, just two people who have been counted out telling you why we'll be the last one standing. This conversation is for every parent hiding in the bathroom crying because their kid had a meltdown in the grocery store. It's for every uniquely abled or neurodivergent person who's been told they're a burden instead of a badass. It's for the prepper groups that still think everybody has to pull their weight the same way, and don't realize the strongest weight we pull is the perspective no one else has. If you've ever felt like you don't belong in prepping spaces because of how your brain or body works, this is your invitation. You belong here. You always did. So grab your drink, settle in, and get ready to feel less alone. Drop your own stories in the chat. Tell us the ability the world calls a disability that you know will save your life one day. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share this stream so it reaches every person who needs to hear they are not the weak link, they are the secret weapon. Let's get started. Question number 1. What's one moment with your son that made you realize the world needs to rethink what normal even means?
Well, I will say at the very beginning of his life, the first few years were probably the hardest. And I think the moment I stopped caring about the word normal was it came after he started talking in complete sentences. Like, he spent the first 3 years of his life really quiet. He didn't speak until after he was 3 years old. And at this point, like, I was a new parent. It was my first kid, my only kid. And I was constantly being told, you know, this is what's normal for a child. This is the benchmarks they should hit and all that stuff. And then, you know, I was really worried because he wasn't speaking. He wasn't even making noises when he would like play with toy cars. You know, he wouldn't go vroom vroom or anything like that. And, you know, I was informed by multiple sources that this was not normal. But then as soon as he decided to start talking, he he didn't start babbling. He didn't start with single words. He started with complete sentences, grammatically correct sentences at like 3.5 years old. He was like, it's like something clicked in his brain that like he'd been working on it behind the scenes the whole time. He just hadn't been making any noises like a typical child would. So it's at that point that I realized that there's a lot more going on inside his head than is visible. And so, yeah, you got to rethink normal, because if you try to raise your child according to those benchmarks, it's just going to lead to more frustration, because you're going to be trying to force them into a box that they don't fit in. I could have, like later on when, it was time to potty train him, say, I could have driven myself crazy trying to get him potty trained in time for normal kids. But I've learned that you have to let him set his own pace, and he may seem like he's really far behind, but he could actually be ahead of the game. Like, he'll come out swinging and he will impress the hell out of me with how much he's learned without, showing it until he's ready, So yeah, I think the moment I really threw out the word normal was when he started talking, and he was talking in complete sense. Like, he went from being way behind the curve to being way over the curve. Like, he was ahead of the game. And that seems to be a pattern with him. Like, that's just a pattern of autism, for him specifically. And yeah, that's it. That's my answer. You find out what your child is good at and you run with it. Yep. Get rid of everything else. That's actually really good advice. I'm looking forward to your answer to this.
Follow up. What's something your body does, or refuses to do, that actually makes you secretly laugh inside, even though everyone else thinks it's a struggle? My right arm has been spastic since birth, a hallmark of my cerebral palsy that locks it into unpredictable rigidity, making simple tasks feel like battles against an invisible force. People watch me fumble with buttons or carry groceries one-handed, their eyes filling with sympathy as they assume every day is an exhausting fight for independence. Strangers offer help without asking, assuming the tremor and stiffness must drain my energy, turning routine actions into monumental efforts. Doctors describe it clinically, focusing on muscle tone imbalances and neural misfires, prescribing therapies to normalize what they see as a deficit. Friends express admiration for my resilience, praising how I adapt with gadgets or sheer willpower, yet they rarely grasp the quiet acceptance I've built over decades. Society labels this as a profound limitation, a body refusing to cooperate in a world designed for fluid, two-handed motion. Opening jars becomes a spectacle, typing reports evolves into a left-handed marathon, and even waving hello twists into an awkward gesture that draws stares. Outsiders imagine frustration boiling over, picturing me cursing the asymmetry that sidelines half my limbs in daily life. Therapists push exercises to loosen the grip of spasticity, warning of worsening contractures if ignored, framing it as a constant adversary demanding vigilance. Family members recall childhood struggles, like learning to tie shoes, emphasizing the emotional toll they perceive as inherent to this struggle. Deep down, the physical reality weighs heavily, with mornings where the arm clenches tighter from fatigue or stress, reminding me of its unyielding presence. Pain flares during cold weather, turning the limb into a throbbing reminder of vulnerability, and medical appointments dissect its mechanics like a puzzle needing solving. Insurance battles for adaptive equipment highlight systemic barriers, reinforcing how the world views this as a hardship requiring endless advocacy. Colleagues whisper about accommodations, assuming the one-handed workflow slows productivity, even as I outperform expectations through clever workarounds. Nights bring reflection on what normal movement might feel like, a fleeting curiosity overshadowed by the tangible barriers it erects. Observers project their own discomfort onto me, seeing the spastic arm as a symbol of limitation that must inspire pity or inspiration. Public spaces amplify this, with accessibility fails like high shelves or narrow doors underscoring the perceived difficulty of navigating solo. Educators in my youth focused on deficits, grading participation lower because group activities demanded bilateral coordination I couldn't muster. Media portrays similar conditions as tragic backstories, rarely showing the nuanced reality where adaptation breeds ingenuity. Peers express relief at their own able-bodied ease, subtly reinforcing the narrative that my experience equates to perpetual challenge. Internally, a different story unfolds, where the seriousness gives way to a private amusement that lightens the load. My mind transforms the spasticity into a quirky character, assigning it names like Rosie to personify the rebellion. Rosie decides when to cooperate, clenching during a handshake or relaxing mid-task, prompting silent chuckles at her timing. People assume deep frustration, but I envision Rosie as a sassy sidekick, plotting her next move while I adapt seamlessly. The world sees struggle, I see a comedy routine playing out in my head, complete with imagined dialogue. Rosie earns her name from those rosy-cheeked moments of defiance, like refusing to grip a pen steadily, forcing me to switch hands mid-sentence. Outsiders might sigh in empathy, but I crack internal jokes about her dramatic flair, thinking she's auditioning for a role in a slapstick film. The arm's unpredictability becomes fodder for mental one-liners, turning potential annoyance into secret entertainment. Friends notice my calm demeanor and assume stoic endurance, unaware of the humorous narrative buffering the reality. Each spasm sparks a witty retort in my thoughts, preserving sanity amid the chaos. Today, Rosie echoes in my mind when she locks up during a crucial moment, like reaching for a dropped item in public. The phrase diffuses tension, reframing the refusal as a playful standoff rather than a defeat. Spectators interpret my slight smile as bravery, missing the internal laughter at her impeccable comedic timing. Naming her humanizes the spasticity, stripping away its power to overwhelm and replacing it with affection. Daily interactions with Rosie build a resilient humor, where what others deem tragic becomes my personal stand-up set. Arm's quirks inspire endless nicknames beyond Rosie, like Stubborn Sally or Twitchy Tina, each capturing a facet of its behavior. Mornings start with a glance at the limb, mentally quipping about her mood for the day, setting a lighthearted tone. Professionals recommend mindfulness for coping, but my version involves satirical self-talk that pokes fun at the absurdity. Communities of disabled folks share similar strategies, validating this inner levity as a valid response to external seriousness. The contrast sharpens my appreciation for the duality, profound challenge met with irreverent joy. Humor shields against the weight of societal perceptions, allowing me to navigate judgments without internalizing them. When Rosie falters during a presentation, I think of her as a diva stealing the spotlight, chuckling inwardly while regaining composure. Mindset transforms potential embarrassment into empowerment, proving laughter's role in resilience. Experts discuss psychological impacts of disability, often overlooking how comedy reframes narratives. My secret laughs honor the complexity, blending gravity with glee in equal measure. Ultimately, the spastic arm teaches duality, where external views of struggle coexist with internal mirth that sustains me. Rosie represents more than a limb, she's a symbol of defiant joy amid adversity. People continue to see difficulty, but my mind's jokes remind me of the strength in subversion. This private amusement enriches life, turning what could be burdensome into a source of endless, quiet delight. The world may never understand, but that's the beauty of it. My laughter remains mine alone. UP out.
That's a great way of looking at it. I love that it's always a moody woman, isn't it? Spastic Sally. That's really good.
Question number 2. People always talk about the hard days, but what's something your son does, a sound, a phrase, a ritual, that instantly melts your heart no matter how tough the day has been?
This one was a little more difficult for me to answer because as he's got a lot less of these like autistic rituals. But I think there are things that he does that kind of reminds me of how far he's come. Like how as somebody on the spectrum, he has a hard time with social cues, understanding what other people are thinking. It's not a lack of empathy so much as just not being able to truly understand how other people think. So when he sees that I'm having like a rough day, or I've been doing a lot and I'm just exhausted, or if I'm getting sick, or lately my back's been giving me so much grief, he'll come up to me. He'll either like give me one of his stuffed animals. I mean, yeah, he's 16, but he still has stuffies and it's still really cute. Or he'll just start talking about a subject that he knows I like. Like he'll bring up some science subject about, like, the stars or the galaxies or something, or gravity, or the grand unified field theory. He'll bring these subjects up because he knows I like them, and he knows that he's able to talk intelligently about them, because as somebody on the spectrum, when he wants to learn about something, he really learns about it. So, he'll come into my room, I'm not feeling great, and he'll just launch into, let's talk about the differences between general relativity and special relativity. Why not? And that's awesome. That's really cool. And it definitely does warm my heart every time he does it. Because, there are days where it is rough and it is hard. They're less now because as he's gotten older, it's gotten easier, honestly. But there are still times where I feel like I need a break, and he'll just come up to me, he'll give me a stuffy, and he'll start talking about these subjects. And that shows a level of care and attention on his part. I know how difficult it is for him to recognize these cues. I mean, yeah, he lives with me. I'm his dad. He knows me better than he knows pretty much anybody else. But still, it's showing that he's putting in a lot of effort to try to connect with me on a human level. And for somebody on the spectrum, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And yeah, I feel like when he does that, it's not so much a feeling that I'm doing something right. It's a feeling that he's coming out of his shell. He's really learning things and showing me what he's learned, and he's trying to help me. He's trying to make me feel better. And yeah. That's my answer.
Follow up. When you meet someone new, what's the moment you can tell they're seeing you instead of just the unique ability? What do they do or say that lets you know? Encounters with new people often begin with a surface-level scan, their eyes lingering on the visible markers of my cerebral palsy, the slight limp in my crawl, the spastic tension in my right arm. Strangers fixate on these externals, interpreting them as the sum of who I am, a collection of limitations rather than a gateway to understanding. Society trains us to categorize differences quickly, filing them under disability, without pausing to unpack the humanity beneath. Initial conversations revolve around polite inquiries about my condition, questions laced with curiosity or pity that keep the focus firmly on the physical. Genuine connection eludes us in those moments, trapped behind assumptions that my body defines my essence. Rare individuals shift the dynamic early, asking about my passions instead of my prognosis, their words bypassing the obvious to probe what lights me up inside. The moment arrives subtly, perhaps when they laugh at a joke I crack about everyday absurdities, responding not with condescension but with authentic amusement that mirrors my own humor. Eyes meet mine without darting away, holding steady as if seeing the spark of intellect and wit that drives me forward. Body language speaks volumes, leaning in rather than pulling back, a nod that acknowledges shared ground beyond visible differences. True sight emerges in these exchanges, stripping away the filter of preconception. People often enter my world expecting fragility, their preconceived notions painting me as someone to handle with care, conversations tiptoeing around anything perceived as challenging. Depth reveals itself when they witness me in action, debating ideas with fervor or organizing a community event with precision despite the physical hurdles. Shock registers on their faces, eyebrows raising as they realize the strategic mind at work, the resilience forged through years of adaptation. Assumptions crumble in that instant, replaced by respect that honors the full spectrum of my capabilities. Acknowledgement feels like a door unlocking, inviting them to explore the layers they've overlooked. Most interactions stay shallow, strangers content with the exterior narrative, never venturing past the wheelchair or the tremor to discover the avid reader, the passionate advocate, the fierce protector of loved ones. Depth demands effort, a willingness to listen beyond the surface story society scripts for disabled bodies. Rare souls dive in, their questions evolving from, "How do you manage?" to, "What drives your work in prepping?" Genuine interest sparks recognition, their tone shifting from sympathetic to engaged, treating me as an equal in the dialogue. Validation blooms in those shifts, affirming that they've glimpsed the core self I carry. Shock amplifies when they observe my interactions with others, bantering with friends who know me deeply, or leading a live stream where my voice commands attention without apology. Newcomers pause, recalibrating their views as they see the confidence, the laughter, the unyielding spirit that defies their initial impressions. Eyes widen, a subtle, aha moment where the puzzle pieces realign, revealing a multifaceted person rather than a monolithic challenge. Words follow suit, compliments focusing on my insights or humor instead of my inspiration. True seeing manifests in this recalibration, bridging the gap from outsider to ally. Acknowledgement carries weight, a quiet revolution against the isolation of being reduced to one's differences. People who see me fully express it through curiosity about my dreams, my fears, my triumphs unrelated to disability. Conversations flow naturally, weaving in shared experiences without forced accommodations. Laughter shared over a mutual interest seals the bond, their responses unfiltered by pity. Depth in these moments heals the subtle wounds of constant misperception, reminding me that visibility of the soul is possible. External judgments dominate first meetings, whispers or stares reinforcing the divide between us and them, my body serving as an unintended barrier. Breakthroughs occur when someone comments on my sharp observation during a group discussion, crediting the thought rather than marveling at the delivery. Surprise flickers across their expression, quickly giving way to admiration that feels earned, not obligatory. Interactions like these dismantle the facade, inviting authenticity where pretense once ruled. Real connection thrives in the absence of shock, evolving into mutual respect. Missing my daily navigations shocks many, from adapting tools one-handed to advocating fiercely for community causes, challenging the narrative of dependency. New acquaintances falter, their words stumbling as they process the discrepancy between expectation and reality. Acknowledgement shines through when they recover, engaging with enthusiasm about shared goals or ideas. Depth in dialogue emerges, questions probing my perspectives on life beyond the physical. True sight fosters belonging, transforming strangers into confidants. Society's gaze often stops at the skin, unwilling to peel back layers revealing the strategist, the survivor, the storyteller within. Rare meetings transcend this, marked by a direct gaze that holds no reservation, words flowing as if differences dissolve. Shock registers when they see me tease a family member with quick wit, realizing the warmth and strength at play. Responses shift to inclusive banter, drawing me into the fold without hesitation. Acknowledgement in these gestures rebuilds trust eroded by superficial encounters. Eludes the majority, conversation stalling at sympathetic nods or awkward silences, never reaching the heart of who I am. Breakthrough moments arrive with those who listen intently to my stories of prepping adventures, responding with their own vulnerabilities. Eyes light up in recognition, a silent affirmation that they've connected with the essence. From observing my interactions fades into appreciation, words praising the ingenuity rather than the endurance. Genuine bonds form in this space, free from the weight of unspoken judgments. People's initial focus on the unique ability blinds them to the vibrant inner world, assumptions locking doors to deeper knowing. Acknowledgement unlocks them when someone asks about my favorite books or future plans, treating me as a peer in pursuit of knowledge. Interactions observed, leading panels or sharing laughs, elicit visible surprise, reorienting their view. Words of equality follow, invitations to collaborate or confide signaling they've seen beyond the exterior. Depth in these exchanges nourishes the soul, countering the isolation of being unseen. Final realizations cement the shift, their parting words reflecting a holistic view: you're incredible at what you do, without qualifiers tied to disability. Shock from witnessing my unfiltered self integrates into respect, fostering ongoing connections. Acknowledgement feels profound, a testament to the power of looking deeper. Encounters like these remind me that while most see only the outside, some choose to know the full story, enriching both our worlds. UP out.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the fact that the first time I heard you crack a joke, it took me by surprise. You have a wicked sense of humor. And you're a better gardener than I am, which still makes me mad. And also like something you were kind of bringing up in the last question about your arm, you know, and about how like you're able to turn that into your own internal strength kind of thing. It actually reminded me of the lead singer, or not the lead singer, the drummer for Def Leppard. You know, he lost his arm in a motorcycle accident, and they didn't think he was going to come back, but he came back, and he was actually a better drummer with only one arm than he was with two. And I think that goes to show the power of, you know, if you have something to overcome, you're going to become better than you were before, you know. And I think, you know, when you, yeah, I mean, he didn't call it Sally, but you know, he should have called his missing arm Sally.
Question number 3. What's the funniest misunderstanding you've ever had with a stranger who just didn't get autism?
Okay, well, it wasn't so much that the stranger didn't get autism, is that like, okay, we were at a restaurant. My son was maybe 6 or 7. And he had a sensory box, it's basically just a big piece of Tupperware with a whole bunch of beads in it. And he would stick his hands in it and just like, you know, rub his hands back and forth inside the beads, and it would calm him down. And I remember going to the restaurant and the waitress coming up to us and seeing what my son was doing and just being so confused. Like, she must have thought he was on drugs or something. Like, because he sees this like 7-year-old just going, and she's like, is he gonna be okay? And I'm like, oh yeah, fine. He's just on the spectrum. And she was, huh? Autism. He's autistic. She's like, oh, I thought he didn't have hands. He thought he didn't have hands. Like, so you don't have hands, so you stick your hands in some beads. It doesn't even make sense. So that was pretty funny. But for the most part, I don't know. My son actually adapts pretty well. Even when he was a kid, he adapted pretty well. Yeah, sure, he'd have his public freakouts then and there, but nothing like you expect. I think he was probably more well behaved than regular kids, like neurotypicals. Sometimes, like when we would be out and we'd see other kids being rowdy or being crazy and their parents weren't doing anything about it, my son would just stare at them and just be like, what is wrong with them? Why are they being so loud and annoying? It's like, and I felt blessed because my son was like that. My son was very calm, very, very chill. You know, when something would bother him, he would freak out internally and he would show it to us, to his parents, and we would know how to, you know, take him out of that situation. He wouldn't have one of those like autistic freakouts like you expect, like just screaming and shouting and all that. I've been around a lot of autistic kids, a lot of kids on the spectrum, and I've seen that. I have totally seen that in other kids. My son doesn't do that, never did, which is great. So, yeah, the sensory box led to the most awkward interaction with a waitress I think I've ever had. She was so confused. So yeah, that's my answer.
Follow up. What's the most annoying, inspirational thing strangers say to you? And what do you wish you could say back in that moment? Strangers spot me navigating my life, their faces lighting up with that familiar mix of pity and awe before the words tumble out. You're so inspirational. The phrase lands like a blanket smothering the moment, reducing my ordinary existence to a motivational poster they can feel good about witnessing. They mean well, assuming their compliment lifts me up, yet it erases the mundane reality of just trying to buy milk without making a scene. My day becomes their feel-good story, my body a prop in their narrative of triumph over adversity.
He bought milk.
The annoyance simmers quietly, buried under a polite smile I've perfected over years. So inspirational. I wish I could be like you. A woman once said this after walking across the gym in front of the entire high school. The words twisted something inside, implying my life of adaptations and pain is an aspiration, a goal to strive for, like learning guitar or running a marathon. They romanticize the exhaustion, the endless problem solving, the moments of raw frustration that no one sees. My existence isn't a choice I made to inspire, it's the hand dealt at birth.
That's funny.
Wishing to be like me ignores the privilege of bodies that cooperate without question. That instant, a sharp comeback flickers in my mind. Careful what you wish for, spasticity doesn't come with a return policy. The line stays
stuck with her.
unspoken, locked behind courtesy, because explaining the joke would drain more energy than the interaction deserves. Strangers deliver these lines with earnest eyes, convinced they're offering gold when they're actually highlighting the gap between us. Their inspiration comes from distance, from never having to live the reality they admire from afar. My silence protects them from discomfort while protecting me from escalation. Imagine replying, if I'm your inspiration, maybe aim higher, I'm just here for the deadlifts. The quip cuts through the pedestal they've built, reminding them inspiration shouldn't require disability as a prerequisite. Strangers rarely consider how these comments accumulate, each one a tiny erasure of the person beyond the struggle. They walk away feeling uplifted, carrying a story of the brave, disabled person they encouraged. Carry the weight of another interaction where my humanity took second place to their epiphany. You're so inspirational, I don't know how you do it. This variant arrives with wide eyes and a head shake, as if my daily life defies physics rather than basic adaptation. The phrase implies a mystery, a superhuman quality they couldn't possibly match, when in reality it's just persistence born of necessity. No one asks able-bodied people how they do it through traffic or taxes, those are expected burdens. Mine become miracles because the world still views disability as tragedy to overcome. The unspoken retort forms quickly, practice. Lots and lots of unwanted practice. The truth stings both ways, acknowledging the forced expertise while highlighting how little choice I had in acquiring it. Strangers deliver inspiration like a gift, wrapped in good intentions, never noticing how it isolates me further. Their words create a hero archetype I never auditioned for, complete with assumed virtues of patience and gratitude. The real me, with bad days and sarcasm, remains invisible behind the halo. Cashier once scanned my items slowly, watching my one-handed technique, then smiled brightly, "You're truly an inspiration to everyone." The public declaration amplified the discomfort, turning a transaction into a broadcast. Fellow customers nodded along, sharing in the collective warmth of witnessing overcoming. My routine task transformed into performance art, deserving commentary and praise. Annoyance flared at being made a public service announcement without consent. My head, the comeback fired, Thanks, but the real inspiration is 2-day shipping. Now that's miraculous. Humor deflects the weight, redirecting focus to something universally relatable. Strangers rarely grasp how these moments compound, each inspirational label adding another layer between me and being seen as ordinary. Their admiration feels conditional, tied to perceived struggle rather than inherent worth. The wish to be like me reveals more about their dissatisfaction than my supposed virtues. Wish I had your courage, you're so inspirational. This one arrived from a coworker observing me present despite visible tremors, framing basic professional duties as acts of bravery. Courage implies choice, a deliberate facing of fear, when showing up is simply non-negotiable. The comment minimized colleagues who battle invisible demons, elevating my visible ones to superior status. Inspiration became a hierarchy where disability grants bonus points for participation. Perfect response bubbles up, courage? Nah, just deadlines and rent, same as you. The line equalizes us, stripping away the exceptionalism they projected. Strangers wield inspiration like currency, spending it freely to feel connected without doing the work of actual knowing. Their words soothe their discomfort with difference, providing a script that resolves tension neatly. My internal monologue grows sharper with each encounter, honing retorts I'll likely never voice. Most annoying part remains the erasure, the way "you're so inspirational" overwrites personality, humor, flaws, and dreams with a single narrative of triumph. Strangers claim connection through these phrases, yet create distance by defining me solely through adversity. The wish to emulate me ignores the cost, romanticizing what often feels like survival rather than choice. Their inspiration feeds on spectacle, starving genuine understanding. Dream of saying, inspire yourself by treating me like everyone else, that would actually impress me. The comeback demands the real work, seeing past the visible to the person beneath. Until then, the annoying inspirational lines continue, met with my practiced smile and an arsenal of silent one-liners. The gap persists between what they say and what I wish they understood. My voice stays measured, but my mind remains gloriously unfiltered. UP out.
Yeah, it's condescending. It's pure condescension. And yeah, like you said, it is well intentioned. But it's reducing you to your abilities, that's not fair. And yeah, it's not looking at you as a person, it's looking at you as a disability. Like, you idiot. And if I ever called you inspirational, it wouldn't be for overcoming your physical limitations. I would say because I know enough of your life story that I know like the shit you've been through and you've had to go through. And I'm not talking about physically, I'm talking about mentally and emotionally. And you have had to build some kind of resilience. And yeah, maybe that is the same thing. Maybe it is the same kind of adaptation because you don't really have a choice. You either get over it or you just don't have a choice. You didn't want to leave this world, so you had to find a way to overcome and adapt, and you found a really wicked sense of humor, like I said. And yeah, I find that inspirational. But you buying milk, that's not inspirational, man. That's just buying milk. Everybody does that.
Question number 4. If you could wave a magic wand and give neurotypical parents one single feeling or experience your family lives with every day, what would you choose for them to feel, just for 24 hours?
This is another really hard question I had to think about for a really long time. Basically, what I would boil it down to is you have to feel both the frustration that comes with not fully understanding why your child isn't doing what a neurotypical would do and doesn't appear to be progressing the way a neurotypical child would. Somebody who doesn't have a pervasive developmental delay. You'd have to feel that frustration, but you'd also have to feel the pride and the surprise when, you know, your child overshoots the goal, you know, like, you know, every parent feels pride in their kid when they do something. But I think when it's preceded by all that doubt and frustration and confusion, because you don't, no matter how much you learn about autism, you never know enough. And I think that's something that a lot of people who have never dealt with anybody on any neurodivergent person just doesn't appreciate. And that's hard. That's really hard. And that's one thing I'd want them to experience, but I don't want them to just experience the bad. I want them to experience the good as well. Like, you know, my son's into robotics now, and he's building robots with his team, and listening to him talk about how he has developed parts of this robot in AutoCAD and is printing them out, 3D printing them, and listening to him explain the math and the physics behind it, which a lot of it goes over my head. That fills me with pride, especially when I think back to those early days when I didn't know if there was anything going on behind his eyes, you know, like it's a unique feeling that is very hard to describe, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, you know, like, sure, you want your kid to be normal. Everybody does. That's normal. But I don't know, man. It's like, what am I trying to say? I think looking past normal is what I think a lot of people need to learn how to do that. Need to learn how to look beyond normal, because normal is overrated. Normal is boring. So yeah, that frustration and the pride of and the surprise when they do more than you expect. I know that's hard to boil down to 24 hours, but it is a feeling that I have a really hard time putting into words. So there you go. There you have it. That's my answer. That's a good point, Brady. Yeah. But still, sometimes I don't want to go get milk because I feel depressed. You know, I'm not inspirational when I go to the grocery store. I'm just going to the grocery store. I'm just being an adult.
Follow up. If you could give able-bodied people one tiny taste of life with CP for just 1 hour, no pain, just the reality, what hour of your day would you pick for them to live through? Would choose the hour between 10 and 11 a.m., the one that begins the moment I finally wake up after a night of restless positioning. The bladder presses urgently, a full and heavy signal that has built for hours, yet the body refuses to move quickly. Legs tangled in sheets feel leaden on the right side, the spastic muscles already tight from sleep. Rolling to the edge of the bed demands a calculated push with the left arm while the right stays clenched uselessly against the chest. Crawling to the bathroom stretches the minutes, each push forward requiring the left arm to pull the entire body while the right elbow digs awkwardly into the floor. Urge to urinate grows sharper, a ticking clock inside that demands speed the body cannot deliver. Tiles turn cold under palms, the doorway narrow enough to force a sideways shuffle on knees. Privacy vanishes in this moment, dignity hangs by the thread of making it in time. The toilet looms close yet unreachable without another surge of effort that coordination sabotages. Reaching the toilet requires hooking the left arm around the grab bar, pulling upward while the right leg spasms and threatens to buckle. Pants cling stubbornly, the waistband catching on hips that hike unevenly. Fingers on the left work frantically while the right hand balls into a fist, offering no help. The bladder screams for release, muscles clenching involuntarily against the delay. Finally seated, relief comes, but the process leaves breath ragged and forehead damp from concentration alone. Washing hands follows the same script, the faucet handle slick under one palm while the other arm hangs rigid. Soap dispenses in a glob too large, sliding away before lather forms properly. Water splashes onto the shirt because turning off the tap demands a twist the right wrist cannot execute. Drying involves shaking the left hand vigorously while the right stays wet and clenched, droplets trailing down the sleeve. The mirror reflects flushed cheeks and eyes focused on the next impossible task waiting outside the door. Turning to the bedroom means crawling again, the floor now an obstacle course of discarded clothes and charger cords. The urge has passed, but fatigue already settles in from the sheer mental taxation of basic evacuation. Bed calls as a temporary refuge, a place to regroup before the next wave of necessity hits. Knees ache slightly from the journey, a reminder that even painless reality extracts its toll through inefficiency. Dressing begins the true battle with Rosie, the spastic right arm that earns her name daily. The shirt lies folded on the floor, sleeve holes mocking with their narrow openings. Sitting on the bed edge, the left hand grasps the fabric while Rosie clenches tighter, elbow bending sharply to resist extension. Forcing the arm into the sleeve requires pinning Rosie against the thigh, using body weight to straighten her enough for fabric to slide over. Sleeve hole fights back, catching on the elbow where tone spikes and locks the joint. Fabric bunches, twisting around the forearm as Rosie spasms in protest. Left hand pulls harder, guiding the limb inch by inch while sweat beads from pure frustration at the delay. Shoulder pops uncomfortably when the arm finally breaches the cuff, a victory that lasts seconds before Rosie curls again inside the sleeve. Adjusting the shirt means tugging hem down with one hand while Rosie pulls the opposite side upward, creating wrinkles that refuse to smooth. Buttons become a distant dream, pullovers win by default on days like this. The mirror shows a lopsided fit, collar askew because fine adjustments demand bilateral control that simply does not exist. Rosie settles into her usual position, fist against ribs, as if claiming triumph in the skirmish. Let's wait next, another crawl to retrieve them from the floor where they landed last night. Sliding them up from a seated position demands balancing on the butt while the right leg stiffens straight, resisting the bend needed to thread feet through. Hips shift awkwardly, the waistband snagging on knees that scissor instead of cooperate. Zipping requires clamping the tab between teeth momentarily while the left hand aligns everything Rosie disrupts. Hour nears its end with basic hygiene barely complete, energy already depleted before the day truly starts. Able-bodied visitors living this slice would feel the relentless micro-decisions, the constant negotiation with a body that obeys only halfway. They would understand the invisible labor behind every visible action, the planning required for tasks others complete without thought. This hour strips away assumptions, revealing the quiet persistence that defines life with CP, UP out.
If you didn't buy so much milk, you wouldn't have to pee so bad. That was a good story, man. I mean, like, as a writer, I really appreciate it. You had a protagonist, you had an antagonist in Sally, you had conflict, you had a climax, a resolution. It was great. Well done.
Question number 5. What's one dream you have for your son's future that you're terrified to say out loud because the world keeps telling you it's unrealistic?
This is the hard one, and I told you not to make me cry. Hard. I know the answer. It's not hard because of that. It's when he was really little, like preschool little. He and his school, his class, they had to write down what they wanted to be when they grew up on pieces of paper and just hold it up. Like, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a policeman, I want to be an astronaut. The usual. My son wrote, I want to be a daddy. And that hit me in the feels. I've got the picture of him holding that sign on my wall. I can't, it's way over there. But like, that's the thing I want for him. I want him to be able to have a family of his own, you know, to find somebody that he loves and who loves him, you know, and have a kid, have 2 kids, have 3 kids. You know, I want him to have not a normal life, but I want him to have that like Norman Rockwell family experience, you know, like me and his mother have tried to give him. And there's a part of my brain that is constantly telling me that that's not going to happen because of his social issues. He's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to find somebody who understands autism in that kind of way. But I know that's not true. I know it's not true. And I've seen how people of his generation, especially, have a better understanding of things like autism, especially neurodivergence. Like it's not really celebrated, but it is much better understood. And I think it's at the point where I do believe that he'll find somebody who looks past his quirks, you know, looks past his autism and sees him for who he is, and will be able to love that. I mean, if I love my son, which I do, and if his mother loves him, which she does, then why can't somebody else do? You know, like, I do believe it's possible. And I know that it's something that he desperately wants. It's something that he wants out of his life. You know, he's not as romance obsessed as I was at his age. You know, like I was looking for my wife when I was 14 because I was a romantic at heart. But like, I do know that he wants that. And he's always wanted that. Like I said, when he was in preschool, he wanted to be a daddy. And it's not just because he idolizes me, which he does. It's just that I think he does want. He wants something like that, and I want that for him. And I want that for him more than anything else. And yeah, I have my doubts, but I push them away because I know they're wrong. I just know they're wrong. You know. I've seen how he makes friends, and I've watched his friends, and yeah, he has difficulties with socializing, but when he's able to overcome them, he blasts past the threshold. Like he only has a couple of friends, but they're really good friends. Like he's not a social butterfly. He doesn't have like a million friends. He has like 3 or 4. But he is extremely friendly with them, and they're extremely friendly with him. Like they know each other inside and out. And I think he's capable of finding that with somebody romantically. You know, he's going to college soon, and you know, we'll see where that goes. But that's my biggest hope for him. And I feel like if he had been born a generation or 2 ago, it would have been much harder. But his generation, you know, I do have a lot of hope for them. They're not nearly as cruel as my generation was at that age. Like, holy cow. So yeah, that's my answer. I'm done. You love Sally. You know you love Sally.
Follow up. What's one thing you're ridiculously proud of that has nothing to do with overcoming anything? It's just something you love about yourself. A dark sense of humor is the only part of me that has never once been labeled itself broken. It never waited for a doctor's approval, never asked society if it was allowed to exist. Simply showed up the first time someone whispered, "Poor thing," and answered, "Yeah, poor thing," with excellent material. I love how it refuses to wear the mask everyone expects from a disabled body. People brace themselves for quiet gratitude or gentle courage. Instead, I hand them a joke about planning my own wake because someone has to make sure the playlist slaps. Their discomfort is the applause I never asked for. Treasure the exact moment a stranger realizes I'm not performing resilience for their comfort. Face shifts from practiced sympathy to genuine shock when I deadpan, "Don't worry, if I fall I'll just lie there and pretend it's performance art." That flicker belongs entirely to me. My darkness doesn't tiptoe around tragedy, it breakdances on its grave. I can sit in a neurology appointment and tell the resident, "If you're looking for my reflexes, just check the morgue," same results, and feel zero guilt for making him choke on his own stethoscope. I adore how fast it disarms pity. One perfectly timed morbid line and the person who was about to call me inspirational suddenly remembers I'm a human with teeth. This humor is the only language I speak without an accent. Every other part of me has been measured, corrected, therapized, but my jokes come out clean and sharp, no translation required. I'm proud that I can weaponize it in real time. Someone parks in the disabled spot without a placard and I roll by muttering, "Relax, I'm just practicing for when I haunt your dreams." They move the car faster than any lecture ever could. Dark humor is the one inheritance nobody can tax or institutionalize. It grew in hospital rooms where the way mold grows in damp corners, quietly, relentlessly, and impossible to bleach out. I love watching another disabled person hear one of my lines and visibly exhale, shoulders dropping because someone finally said the thing we all think at 3 a.m. but aren't supposed to voice. It never asks permission to be cruel to absurdity. When accessibility fails yet again, I don't sigh, I announce, "Great, another building that wants to kill me, add it to the list, I'm making a scrapbook." Cherish how it turns every "how are you" into a trap. Most people expect "fine." I give them "still alive," which is honestly rude of me at this point, and watch them scramble for footing. My darkness is proof that the worst things that ever happened to me didn't win. They just gave me better material than joy ever could. I'm proud that it scares the polite people exactly enough to remind them their own lives are hanging by the same thin thread they pretend is steel. This humor is the only part of me that has never needed a ramp, a grab bar, or a single accommodation. It walks through every wall society built to keep me quiet. Above all, I love that my dark sense of humor because it is mine alone, unfixable, unapologetic, and laughing in the face of every voice that ever told me I should smile prettier while the world burns. UP out.
Like I said, wicked. It's wicked. It's a good answer. It's a really good answer. Because yeah, your humor doesn't come from overcoming anything. It's just an inherent part of Zach.
Any final words for tonight?
Only that I meant it. I meant what I said. I find it truly inspirational the way you piss in the morning. No, I just yeah, throw normal in the bin. We don't need normal. Normal's stupid. And I've come to learn, the older I get, the more I understand it, that everybody is a little broken. Everybody. It's just, we're all overcoming something. So like the act of overcoming on its own isn't that special. It's just it's how you adapt. And I think you show that very well with this channel, with the things that you talk about here. And what we talked about tonight, I think adaptation is more important than overcoming. Like I said, sometimes I don't want to get out of the bed in the morning, but I still do. I don't get any praise for that. I don't get called inspirational for that. It'd be nice if I did, but it would also not really mean anything. You know, it's not special. everybody has their own struggle. Some struggles are harder than others. And that's not the point. The point is at how we adapt and how we are able to approach these things with a wicked sense of humor, a smile, or, being a cynical jackass. Those are your options. And I think that option says more about you than how you look on the outside or what your struggles are. That's my final thoughts. I'm not sure if that made any sense, but that's what I'm saying.
Doug, thank you for sitting here with me tonight and letting the raw truth spill out without apology. Gave words to the fears every parent of an autistic child carries in silence, and you gave power to every autistic adult who's been told their mind is a liability. Your honesty cracked hearts open in the best way. Thank you for laughing with me when the chat got heavy, for tearing up when the stories hit too close, for reminding every single person watching that raising a neurodivergent child isn't a tragedy, it's a front row seat to a different kind of genius. Thank you for trusting this space with your son's light, for showing the world that meltdowns and all, he is perfect exactly as he is, and that love looks like fighting systems, not fighting him.
Yeah.
Thank you for every time you turned the questions back on me and made me say out loud the things I usually only joke about in the dark. You saw me, really saw me, spasticity and sarcasm and all, and never once flinched.
Sally.
Thank you for proving that two people with bodies and brains the world calls broken can still build something beautiful together, something that makes thousands of strangers feel less alone at 2 a.m. when the doubts creep in. Thank you for every parent watching who now knows they're not failing, every autistic person who heard, you are exactly the strength we need when it all falls apart, every unique abled prepper who finally feels welcomed at the table. Thank you for crying with us, laughing with us, raging with us, and staying until the very last comment rolled in. You are family now, whether you like it or not.
You're one of us.
Anything we said tonight hit you in the chest. If you want more real talk like this, more neurodivergent prepping, more unfiltered unique ability truth, find everything unique prepping at the LinkTree link in the description. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share so this message keeps traveling to every person who still thinks they don't belong. We'll be back, same raw energy, same refusal to play small, same love for every single one of you who choose to show up exactly as you are. Love you all. Fear not, for I am with thee, be not dismayed, for I am thy God, I will strengthen thee, yeah, I will help thee, yeah, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Isaiah 41 verse 10 KJV. Stay prepared, stay unique, and God bless.
You woke up to a world that said stay in line. Your dreams too big, heart's too wild, you'll be fine. But you've got fire burning deep inside. Don't let the fear rewrite your life. Every step you take, you're breaking through. Even when the voices inside shadow you, don't forget what you were made to do. The world's waiting on the light inside of you. Like, comment, share and subscribe. We're in this together. Prepare for the ride. Don't give up on your journey. Don't you let go of that flame. Your passion's got power. Your dreams got a name. You're closer than you ever knew. If you need prepping, can do it. You can too. They say you're dreaming way too loud, but you were never meant to blend in with the crowd. You've got a voice, so let it rise. You're not alone, we're on your side. When the nights get long and the road feels rough, when the mountain's high and the climb is tough, look how far you've come, you've made it through, and you rise again, 'cause that's what dreamers do. Don't give up on your journey. You got a spark, let it fly. Your stories unfold and reach in the sky. Just hold on, you'll break through. If unique prepping can do it, you can too.